I was standing beside Marcus Reed at a room full of investors, smiling like we had been together for years, when I realized something terrifying. I had started believing the lie. Not the lie everyone else believed. The one I was telling myself. Because everyone in that room thought Marcus and I were a couple. They saw the way he looked at me, the way I laughed at his jokes, the way his hand rested gently at my back as we walked through the crowd. What they didn't know was that 3 days earlier, Marcus and I were barely more than professional acquaintances, and what I didn't know was that one weekend pretending to be his girlfriend would force me to question everything I thought I understood about love. My name is Aaliyah Brooks. I'm 30 years old, and before that weekend, I was the woman who had her entire life planned. My career was growing, my apartment was exactly how I liked it, my schedule was full, my goals were clear. I had spent years building a life where I didn't need anyone to rescue me, and honestly, I was proud of that. I worked as a creative director for a branding agency in Atlanta. My job was understanding people. I helped companies figure out how they wanted the world to see them. The funny thing was, I was much better at creating honest images for other people than showing my own. Because when it came to relationships, I had a habit of keeping everyone at a safe distance. Not because I didn't want love, because I didn't want to lose myself inside it. So when Marcus Reed walked into my office with a proposal that sounded completely ridiculous, my first instinct was to say no. Marcus was the founder of a fast-growing event technology company. He was successful, confident, and the kind of person who seemed comfortable in every room he entered. But what stood out about him wasn't his business success. It was the way he listened. Most people listened while waiting for their turn to speak. Marcus listened like your words actually mattered. My agency was competing for a major contract with his company. It was the type of account that could change the direction of my career. So when he asked to meet privately after our presentation, I assumed he wanted to discuss business. I never expected him to say, "I need a favor, and I know how strange this is going to sound." That sentence alone should have warned me. Marcus explained that an important investor was attending a weekend event with his company. The investor believed Marcus was brilliant professionally, but questioned whether he understood balance, relationships, and building a stable future. I thought it was unfair. A person's relationship status should not determine whether they are capable of leading a company. But Marcus told me the truth. "The problem isn't that I'm single," he said. "The problem is that I've spent so long building my company that people think I don't know how to build anything else." Then he asked me to pretend to be his girlfriend for one weekend. I laughed. I actually laughed because I thought he was joking. But he wasn't. He promised there would be boundaries. No pretending outside the event. No confusing the arrangement. No expectations. Just two people helping each other. He needed someone who could handle pressure, speak confidently, and make the weekend believable. And I needed his company as a client. So after a very long conversation and several reminders that this was strictly business, I agreed. The rules were simple. We would act like a couple. Then Monday would come, and everything would go back to normal. At least, that was the plan. The first few hours were exactly what I expected. Awkward. Marcus introduced me to people as someone important in his life, and I had to remind myself to smile naturally. But then something strange happened. I stopped acting. Not completely, but little moments started feeling real. Like when we were walking between meetings and he noticed I was overwhelmed. He didn't ask if I was okay because it was polite. He asked because he actually noticed. "You always look like you're carrying 10 conversations in your head," he told me. I looked at him and laughed. "That's a very specific observation." He smiled. "I pay attention." That stayed with me, because most people noticed what I achieved. Marcus noticed how I carried it. Throughout the weekend, we played the role everyone expected from us. We answered questions together. We laughed together. We supported each other. But somewhere between the business conversations and the long evenings talking after everyone left, something changed. I learned Marcus wasn't the perfectly confident man everyone saw. He had built a company from nothing, but he admitted he was afraid of becoming someone who only knew how to succeed and not someone who knew how to live. And I understood that more than I wanted to admit, because I had done something similar. I built walls and called them independence. I controlled every part of my life and called it peace. But Marcus made me feel like maybe control wasn't the same thing as happiness. The moment everything changed happened on the second night. We were sitting outside the hotel after the event had ended. No investors, no performance, no reason to pretend, just us. Marcus looked at me and said, "Can I ask you something?" I nodded. "Are you enjoying this because we're pretending, or because you actually like being around me?" I should have had an answer. I didn't, because the truth was uncomfortable. I liked being around him. Not the version of him I was supposed to pretend to like, the real him, and I think he realized the same thing. That night, we stopped talking like two people following an agreement. We talked like two people who had accidentally found something they weren't searching for. And before the weekend ended, we kissed. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't some perfect movie moment. It was simply two people admitting that the line between pretending and feeling had disappeared. Sometimes the most unexpected moments in life become the stories we never forget. If you enjoy emotional romance stories about connection, second chances, and finding love in surprising places, my book, Confession of Unexpected Love, was created for moments like this. It's a collection of heartfelt stories you can enjoy during a quiet evening, a relaxing weekend, or whenever you want to escape into a beautiful journey of love and emotion. You can find Confession of Unexpected Love through the link in the pinned comment. Now, let's continue with my story. The next morning, everything felt different, because now we had a problem. The arrangement was supposed to end on Monday, and suddenly, I didn't know if I wanted it to. But then I discovered something that hurt more than I expected. Marcus had already planned everything. The event, the introductions, the ending. He had prepared for Monday before we even started. When I found the document showing the original agreement timeline, I felt embarrassed. Not angry, embarrassed. Because a small part of me wondered if I had just been another part of his strategy. Another thing he carefully arranged. When Marcus found me, he immediately knew something was wrong. "You saw it," he said. I looked at him. "You planned the ending before we even started." He was quiet. Then he said something I didn't expect. "Yes, because I was afraid." That surprised me. Marcus explained that he wasn't afraid of the business failing. He was afraid that if the weekend became real, he wouldn't know what to do next. Because real relationships weren't something he could organize. They weren't something he could control. And suddenly, I realized we were more alike than I wanted to admit. He controlled things because he was afraid. I controlled things because I was afraid. We were just protecting ourselves in different ways. But the biggest test came when the truth about our arrangement was discovered. The investor learned that our relationship had started as an agreement. And suddenly, the very thing we were trying to prove became the thing people questioned. Marcus had a choice. He could deny everything. He could protect the deal. He could pretend the weekend never happened. Instead, he told the truth. He admitted that it started as an arrangement. But he also admitted that somewhere along the way, it became something neither of us expected. And I watched him risk everything by choosing honesty. That was the moment I understood who Marcus really was. Not the successful founder, not the man everyone admired, the man who was willing to lose something valuable rather than build something meaningful on a lie. The investor respected that honesty more than the performance, and eventually, the business moved forward. But the bigger decision was mine, because Marcus didn't ask me to continue pretending. He didn't ask me to be the woman everyone had seen that weekend. He asked me to be myself. And for the first time in a long time, I allowed myself to believe that someone could love the real version of me, not the polished version, not the successful version, not the woman who always had everything under control, just Aaliyah. So when Monday came, the pretending ended, but something else began, a real relationship. One that didn't need an audience, one that didn't need rules, one that wasn't created because two people needed something from each other. It existed because two people chose each other. Before you go, I want to share something special with you. If you love stories about unexpected connections, emotional moments, and the beautiful surprises life can bring, my book, Confession of Unexpected Love, was created for you. It is the kind of book you can keep beside you during a quiet evening at home. Take with you on a peaceful journey, read while relaxing on a weekend morning, or enjoy before going to sleep when you want a story that reminds you of hope, connection, and the possibility of something beautiful still waiting ahead. Sometimes we all need a story that allows us to slow down, to escape for a little while, and to remember that love, kindness, and meaningful connections can appear in the most unexpected ways. You can find Confession of Unexpected Love through the link in the pinned comment. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. If this story touched your heart, please take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who enjoys heartfelt romance stories, and subscribe to the channel so we can continue bringing you more unforgettable stories about love, connection, and the moments that change our lives. Also, turn on the notification bell so you never miss our next story. I'll see you in the next one.